Right now, as we speak, the establishment in Washington is threatening an imminent, massive war with Iran. We have aircraft carriers in the region and fighter jets deployed. We are being told this is absolutely necessary to stop Iran from rebuilding its nuclear program. But I want to stop and ask a very basic question that the politicians won't answer. How does a war with Iran put America first? Let me be crystal clear so no one twists my words. The Iranian regime is evil. Their leadership is bad. They sponsor terror, and I want them out just as much as anyone else does. But the United States of America cannot control the entire world. There are endless amounts of bad people running bad countries. Look at North Korea. They are tyranny, regime. They starve their own people, and they already have actual nuclear weapons. There's no religious freedom. No one's going to say Kim Jong-un's a good leader, but yet we don't do anything about that. We're not launching a full-scale invasion in North Korea tomorrow, nor are there even rumors of it. Why? Because we understand the catastrophic cost. Iran is 6,000 miles away. It is completely outside of our hemisphere. We have an invasion at our own southern border. Cartel violence is spilling into our cities and a culture falling apart from the inside out. True America First means defending our homeland, not getting dragged into another endless Middle Eastern war. Now, I want to break down a few aspects for you guys here because we talked about this, and as I said, is the Iranian regime okay? No. I want them out probably more than anybody else does. But I'm also American first. I will always prioritize my country above these other aspects. Why? Because we are to differentiate the two. Listen, I live in America. Yes, I'm a Christian. Yes, that is my number one loyalty is to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. But I've been blessed to live in the country of America, and we see throughout the Bible, Jeremiah and so on and so forth, that we see that there is an okay to have deep reverence and pride even in your own country, in your nation. So I'm going to make sure I prioritize America, being that I am an American. So I don't support this war for multiple reasons, which I'm going to break down right now. But there's one aspect I want to give you guys my thoughts on. It's the hypocrisy that I think we see with the nuclear war situation right now. The main excuse for this war is that we cannot allow a Middle Eastern rival to possess nuclear weapons. But let's look at the history of how those weapons got to the region in the first place. Back in the 1960s, President John F. Kennedy and Lyndon B. Johnson aggressively pushed back against Israel acquiring nuclear weapons. JFK demanded strict inspections of Israel's Dimona facility because he knew the truth. Introducing nuclear weapons to the Middle East would inevitably spark a regional arms race. He was right, but the U.S. eventually caved. Now Washington turns a blind eye to one nation having a nuclear arsenal while preparing to launch World War III to stop a rival from getting one. And this is the hard truth for the right. We cannot allow Israel to draw us into this war. If Israel looks at the map and decides that their national survival requires them to strike Iran, that is their sovereign decision. They can fight that war on their own. But the United States of America should have no part in it. American blood and American treasure should not be the shield for a foreign nation's regional conflict. Absolutely not. American treasure should not be the shield for American blood and American treasure should not be the shield for a foreign nation's regional conflict. As I said, would we be in this situation if it were not for Israel? I think you have to legitimately ask that question. Now, this isn't using facts per se, but this is using speculation. This is using the fact that one nation's leader, you guys know who I'm talking about, Israel, President Netanyahu, that this man has come to our country more times than any other leader has in recent memory. This is because of the fact that there are so many deep ties in regards to Israel and America in this presidency under Donald Trump. I don't like what I'm seeing from this relationship we have. It's too much in my opinion. And so if it is something where we're going in there on the behalf of Israel, that is wrong. Because if we go back in time, let me just put yourself in a situation right now. I'm just going to propose this question to you. And listen, I don't want Iran having nuclear weapons. Trust me, I don't. At the same breath, Let me propose this question to you. If you were a nation's leader, your objective is to be the best leader, make the best decisions for your nation, whether that is morally acceptable or not around the rest of the world. Your decision is to make sure that you reflect the people to the best of your ability. So if you are a country and your rival that does not like you, if they possess nuclear weapons and you have the capabilities to build them, would you not do so to defend yourself? I'm not saying I want Iran to have nuclear weapons, but what I am saying is, can you fault them for really desiring them? When your biggest rival has a nuclear weapon, don't you think you probably want one as well? And we know Israel is not going to give up the nuclear weapons, and so I can't not fault Iran for desiring nuclear possessions. I can't fault them. Doesn't mean I want them to have them, but I cannot fault them. And so we would not be in this situation to begin with at all if Israel didn't kick this whole thing off. If they didn't possess them, then Iran would have no right to having them. That's just a fact. Israel went against the United States beforehand, and they created them anyways. Iran is doing a very similar thing now, but yet we're waging war, or at least potentially waging war, on them for having them. This seems like an Israel problem, not an American problem. And that's why, I'm going to be honest, our men and women don't deserve to go over there and fight for Israel on behalf of Israel, to defend Israel, because at the end of the day, this is an Israel problem. Sure, are they a threat to America? Sure. But so would North Korea be, and Russia, China. But we're not doing anything about them, are we? Mind you that. But there's one other aspect I also want to help people understand. There is a biblical reality to what's happening in the Middle East. To understand why American intervention is a trap, you have to understand the biblical history. This is not a political dispute over just borders or oil. This is a 4,000-year-old spiritual war. It goes all the way back to the book of Genesis, to the fractured family of Abraham, Isaac, and Ishmael. Today you have the Jewish people, the Islamic world, and ancient Christian communities caught right in the crossfire of this ancient feud. The Middle East is a theological fault line. You cannot solve a millennial-old biblical conflict with American cruise missiles. We tried it in Iraq. We tried it in Afghanistan. It has not worked. And on top of that, you look historically speaking, how many nations throughout history have tried to penetrate the Middle East for one reason or another, and that led to the demise and the dismantling of the government, of their reign. The stats are backing this up. We look biblically, we know that there's going to be rivalry until the end times. This isn't new news. The Bible's been saying this for many, many, many years. It's the Middle East, the promised land. So my final thoughts on the subject is, let's go back to Psalm 122. It tells us to pray for peace of Jerusalem. We should absolutely pray for the stability of that region. But praying for peace does not mean funding a war. Our compass points to true north, not the Middle East. It is time to bring our troops back home, get them out of the Middle East, lock down our own borders, and stop trying to play God in a desert 6,000 miles away. There's more bigger battles to fight than this battle in Iran. And so if you're President Donald Trump, while I agree with the majority of what this man is doing, I don't like us having anything to do with the Middle East right now. The most troops since the invasion in 2003 for Iran? I don't think so. We need our troops back home and out of the Middle East. We're navigating some rough waters in this culture, and we need everyone on deck. If you appreciate the direction we're heading, subscribe and hit the like button to help us hold the line. Comment below. I want to know where you stand. If you're listening on audio, leave a 5-star review. Finally, share this video to help others find true north. Stay the course, and I'll see you next time.